Hi everyone. I thought this week we were going to learn something new. It's just an extension of our metric conversions that we did in February. And remember when we switched from millimeters to centimeters, we had to multiply by 10. Or if we did centimeters to millimeters, we had to divide by 10. And remember, we had to move our decimal number right or left depending what we did. This is just an extension on that. We're just going to use different units of measurement now. So when we did distance and length, so if we do length, we use millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers. Now we're going to do weight, and we're going to do the capacity. So the weight is also, we call it mass. Mass means how much something weighs. So when we weigh something, we use grams and we use kilograms. That's it. Just grams and kilograms. Capacity measures how much liquid something can hold. So that's the liquid. And when we do that, we're using milliliters and we're using liters. So this is all metric conversion. All right? And it's just the different units of metric conversions that we use for weight, liquid, or the length of something. All right. So let's get rid of that. So, and it's again just using our base tens, hundreds, thousands. But the good thing is when we're using mass and capacity, we're only using 1,000. We're only multiplying by 1,000 or dividing by 1,000. So, all right, if we put mass up here, we know mass is the weight. And we do capacity, it is measuring the liquid. The liquid something can hold. So, all right. So if we're talking about the weight and we're talking about mass, I have two things here. I have a cake mix because I've been doing lots of baking while we've been stuck inside. And I have Brienne's favorite cereal. So, which one would you think weighs more? Just by looking at the box, which one do you think weighs more? So I get most of you would say the cereal because the box is bigger, but it's not. If I look at it, it has on the bottom, it'll tell me how much something weighs. And just because something looks bigger doesn't mean it weighs more. If I look at this, the cake mix is 432 grams, whereas my cereal is 311 grams. So it tells me just by looking at the grams, which one weighs more. So when we do weight, as I said before, we use grams or kilograms. Those are the two we use. If we're doing liquid, I have some liquid here. I have a bottle of water. My bottle of water, on it, it tells me how many milliliters it is. Because when we do liquid, we're using the two units of measurement. We're using milliliters and we're using liters. Those are the two we use. So I have a bottle of water here and I have apple juice. And which one would hold more? By looking at it, you can tell which one holds more. My apple juice is 1.89 liters and my bottle of water is 500 milliliters. And then if I add the hand sanitizer, which we've all been using, it only has 60 milliliters. So they are different. Now we've learned how to convert between one unit of measurement to another. And it's the same thing applies here to this. So as a review, let's review. Remember, step one, when we're going from different units of measurement, we have to figure out if we're going from bigger to smaller or smaller to bigger. That's the first step. So I look at my grams to kilograms. I know grams is smaller than kilograms and milliliters are smaller than liters. So I have to figure out which way I'm going. Second, once I figure it out, I need to know, am I multiplying or am I dividing? So when I go from bigger to smaller, I am multiplying. When I'm going from smaller to bigger, therefore I am dividing. So I have to figure out multiply or divide. That's step 2. Step 3 is we know how much am I multiplying or dividing by. In this situation, it's always 1,000. So I don't have to figure it out. That's all it is. I just have to remember. Step 3 is I am multiplying or dividing by 1,000. Okay? So, step 4 is which way am I moving my decimal point? So, I know when I multiply, my decimal goes to the right. When I divide, my decimal goes to the left. Now I got to figure out how many spots. How many place values am I moving the decimal? Well, since we know we're only going by 1,000, I'm only moving it 3 decimal spots because there's 3 zeros in 1,000. So I know I've got to move it 3 place values. All right? And then I have to solve. Then I have to do it. I'm going to write this and I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to make it an anchor chart and I'm going to attach it. I'll write a nice anchor chart out so you guys can have it. All right, so then we have to move it. So let's give some of these a try then. All right. Hold on here. All right, so if I have 200 grams and I want to know how many kilograms that is. So step 1, am I going bigger to smaller? Well, or smaller to bigger. I'm going smaller to bigger because grams are smaller than kilograms. So I'm going smaller to bigger. When I go smaller to bigger, am I multiplying or am I dividing? Smaller to bigger, I am dividing. I know I'm dividing by 1,000, so I have to move my place value 3 spots. Which way? Since I'm dividing, I am going to the left. Now remember, every whole number has that invisible decimal at the end. I have to move it 3 spots to the left. 1, 2, 3. So now that is my number. 200 grams equals decimal 2 kilograms. You can write those 2 zeros like that too. They mean the same thing. All right, let's try another one. All right, let's take 1.89 liters. That's what the apple juice was. And I want to know, how many milliliters is it? Okay, so first thing I need to do, am I going smaller to bigger or bigger to smaller? I know I am going bigger to smaller. So when I go bigger to smaller, I multiply. I am multiplying. I'm multiplying by 1,000. We know we use 1,000 with mass and capacity. So that means I'm moving my decimal to the right. So I take 1.89 and I'm multiplying it by 1,000. Again, you can use a calculator for doing this, but it's understanding what we're doing. So 1.89, I'm going to move it 3 spots because we're going by 1,000, right? And there's 3 zeros in 1,000, so I'm going to move it 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. So my new number is 1,890. So 1.89 1.89 liters equals 1,890 milliliters. So really all we're doing is multiplying and dividing by 1,000. Take your calculator if you have to, multiply and divide by 1,000. Very, very simple. All right, let's try another one. All right, if I've got 1.35 kilograms is going to equal how many grams? All right, I know. I've got to look. First, am I going bigger to smaller or smaller to bigger? I am going bigger to smaller. So I'm going bigger to smaller. When I go bigger to smaller, am I multiplying or am I dividing? That's right, I am multiplying. I am multiplying by 1,000. We know it's only 1,000. That means when I'm multiplying, I'm moving my decimal to the right. My decimal is being moved to the right. It is being moved to the right 3 times. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 1.35 and I'm multiplying it by 1,000. I'm going to multiply that by 1,000. I'm going to move my decimal 1, 2, 3. So my new number is 1,350 grams. So 1.35 kilograms equals 1,350 grams. All right, I'm going to make an anchor chart and I'm going to attach it to it. And I'm going to give you one sheet of some questions for you to practice and try. On Wednesday, I'm going to do another review for you and I'll give you a little bit more work to do. All right, enjoy this beautiful weather. Keep up the hard work that you're doing, guys. I appreciate all the work that you've done. And stay safe, everyone. All right, Rich, let's try this then.
I can move?
Yeah, you can move. Hi, sweetheart.